I could see why they didn't put that in Team Fortress 2. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if that got put in TF2? Generic intro into theduckgoesmoo. We're back with another TF2 video, and this one's going to be a little bit different. We're doing TF2 versus TFC by After Breakfast with Squim Jim, whoever that is, the evolution of Heavy Weapons Guy, where I believe it breaks down all the classes in TF2 and from Team Fortress Classic and takes them and compares them side by side to see who would win in a fight. Now, I'm not familiar with Team Fortress Classic. I know that they were in the comics for the TF2, and that's how I'm familiar with them, and you all told me about it in the comment section. I read every single comment. This suggestion actually came from the comment section of last week's video, which was Engineers versus Solar Light rematch, which I'll leave right up there if you want to check that out. Also, link down below in the description. Also be on playlist on my channel with all of my TF2 videos, literally all of them. They're all in that playlist, and I've been doing this for like 3 years. Wait, has it been 3 years? Yeah, no, it's been 2.5 years that I've been reacting to TF2 stuff. I'm still relatively new to Team Fortress 2, but I love reacting to, you know, the cinematics, the source filmmaker. I love playing TF2, save TF2, do that. But shout out to the patrons, they can do videos day early, live tonight, paywall on the channel. Let me know if you want to see the next one, which is going to be Evolution of the Scout. But I'm excited to get into this and learn about Team Fortress Classic a little bit more. But let's go ahead and jump on into this video. Alright, TF2 versus TFC. Anybody call it TFC, or we just call it Team Fortress Classic? Which I'm pretty sure wasn't Team Fortress Classic just a wasn't it a mod pack on Quake or something?
In 1996, a class-based shooter mod was developed for Quake by TF Software. It was called TF Fortress. And those developers would later go on to be hired by Valve to port this Team Fortress as a mod.
They made a mod pack.
Half-Life. This new
I've never
mod,
played Half-Life.
Team Fortress Classic, would be released in 1999.
Why
is any of this important, you ask? Well, you know that game,
God,
Team Fortress?
Old.
It's actually the game that came before Team Fortress 2.
You think?
It's true. As shocking as it is, there is a TF1. Though I would be willing to bet that most of us never played Team Fortress Classic.
What about Team Fortress 3?
If we ever played it at all.
Was that 2 for it?
I mean, I certainly didn't. I only started playing Team Fortress Classic fairly recently. And TFC has always been kind of
I think that is
2
for it.
No one really talks about it much anymore, and while the TF2 wiki does have some basic info on TFC as well, it's not nearly as fleshed out or as expansive as the TF2 info. And playing Team Fortress Classic recently, it got me thinking,
that water.
What if we really compare each of the classes in TF2 to their original counterparts? To see how much stayed the same and how much changed in TF2's 9 years of development. Then just for fun, we'll try to determine which class would win 1v1. And I think the Heavy Weapons Guy would be a good place to start the series off, seeing how he's kind of the most iconic class in each game.
Yeah, he is.
And
he is
yes,
like
we did see how this went down in the
face
comics,
of the franchise.
But I'm not talking about the comics here.
I react to the
talking about
comics.
Both heavies in their prime. Who would win?
My money's going on TF2 Heavy.
Fort Terrorizer, the leader of the
Fort Terrorizer.
The Heavy Weapons Guy.
Versus the Heavy Weapons Guy.
Weighing in at 150 kilograms. He puts
That's
the
a lot.
In heavy weapons. The other Heavy Weapons Guy. Okay,
Yeah.
stock weapons only. No medics. I want a good clean.
No medics. What about sandwiches?
We're gonna start off with the basic attributes of the characters. The
Health.
TF2 Heavy is,
Probably
of course,
speed.
known for his huge amount of health that is significantly
300.
higher than the other classes in the game. However, the TFC Heavy, while also having the highest health, shares that stat with both the TFC Pyro and Soldier. And the health
Soldier?
is 100.
100?
Yeah,
well,
it's
the guns
just
probably
100.
worse.
Lower than any of the class's standard health in TF2. But there's one more teensy little detail. All of the classes in Team Fortress Classic have armor.
Okay,
there are 3
didn't
types
know
of
that.
armor, light, medium, and heavy, and each class has their own set of armor points. Armor will absorb a certain percentage of damage taken.
This is very confusing. I can see why I got rid of it.
Both health and armor depending on the strength of the armor and how much armor points you have. Light armor absorbs 30%,
kind of like CSGO's
medium
armor.
60%, and heavy 80%. You could probably already guess that heavy does in fact have heavy armor. And not only does he have heavy armor, but he also has by far the most armor points in the game with 300. So, for example,
a lot more.
if something hit the heavy that had a base damage of 100, he would lose 80 armor points and 20 health points. And of course, the heavy will only die if he loses all his health points. If you want an actual in-game example, the crowbar has a base damage of 18 per hit. When hit by it, my health is reduced by 4, and the other 14 damage is taken away from my armor total. So
Okay.
this does mean that the original Heavy actually has the advantage here, despite having 1/3 the base health. He has the best type of
but the
armor,
armor.
and he has a lot of it. If both characters were hit by an attack with a base
But
damage
what's
of
his gun?
300, the TF2 Heavy would just die, while the TFC Heavy would live with 40 health and 60 armor to spare. So the winner of this category is gonna be the original Heavy Weapons guy.
That's not a
The next category
huge
is
win.
speed,
Like speed.
which is not exactly Heavy's forte.
No, it is
And
not.
even
We
less
all
so
know I
in the
love
original
speed
game,
characters.
Where the TFC Heavy had a run speed of
Had the characters part in.
76%. Team Fortress 2 sped him up to 77%.
Wow, 1%.
Hey, a win's a win, and this one goes to the TF2 Heavy. Both
Wow,
versions of Heavy
that's
will
a
also
difference
take a huge
maker.
knockback compared to other classes. I'm willing to bet that there are probably more exemptions to this in TF2 than there are in TFC, but we'll call this one a tie.
Okay.
Okay, now we're gonna get to the good stuff.
Melee.
Heavy weapons, guys. Weapons. In Team Fortress Classic, your slot 1 weapon is actually your melee, so we'll start with that. And like most of the classes in TFC, his melee weapon
crowbar?
is a crowbar. And it sucks. It's really
It
bad.
sucks.
Like I said
Isn't that like a
earlier,
Gary
it only
Smart thing?
deals 18
Crowbars?
damage, and there's no way to increase that. That's nearly
No
half
way.
what Scout's Bat deals in TF2, and Scout's Bat itself is already not a very strong weapon.
Yeah, like the
Heavy's
weakest.
fists in TF2 have a base damage of 65. So that means the
Jesus.
crowbar would have to hit 4 times before it's able to outdamage just 1 hit of the fists.
That's a big one in
However,
the
on
heavy.
the bright side, the crowbar does swing much faster than the fists do.
Okay, what's
And to have
CPS
some
though?
kind of consistent measurement of damage output between these two games, we'll be looking at which weapons are able to deal 100 damage first. So in Team Fortress Classic, we'll be using the Heavy with
Versus
no armor.
Heavy with no
This
armor.
means he only has 100 health, and that's it. And in Team Fortress 2, we'll be using a Spy
Big
with
Earner
a
Spy,
gun,
which is
also
what I
only has
run.
100 health.
Thank
And we're
you,
gonna see which melee weapon is
Soundsmith.
able to deal 100 damage faster. And unsurprisingly, it's the fists. Despite the slower swing speed, the fists are able to kill a spy in 0.98 seconds with 2 hits, and the
Jesus.
crowbar takes 2.1 seconds with 6 hits.
That's a big win.
So TF2 is the clear
That means the
winner
DPS
here.
is at what? The least double,
Alright, the TFC
if not more.
classes generally have more weapons than their
4.5.
TF2 counterparts. Heavy has 2 shotguns, taking up his second and third weapon slots. The single-barreled shotgun and the double-barreled shotgun. The
Why do
thing
you need
is,
both?
I'm not sure why you would ever use a single-barreled shotgun over the
you
double-barreled
have
shotgun
2.
in any circumstance. The single fires faster, reloads faster, and uses less ammo, but its damage output is terrible, dealing only a max of 24 damage if all of the pellets connect. It
Wow,
takes
of all of
19
them.
point-blank shots from the single-barreled shotgun to kill a full-health, full-armored Heavy. Yeah, that's
19.
right, I said 19 shots. The shotgun in
19,
TF2
where
can
all
kill
the
full-health
pellets-
Heavy in 4 shots. If this weapon was in TF2, it would be one of the worst weapons in the game. So you might say the TFC Heavy wins this round by default because he has 4 weapons where the TF2 Heavy only has 3.
No.
But no, the TFC Heavy loses this round because he has this. This weapon is awful. We're going to be comparing the TF2 shotgun to its much better counterpart, the double-barreled shotgun.
But yeah,
The
you can't
double-barreled
compare
shotgun
those two.
has 16 ammo loaded, but uses 2 each time it's fired, effectively making
Oh.
it 8 total. It fires 14 pellets that deal 4 damage each, meaning it's able to deal a minimum of 4 damage and a maximum of 56 if all of the pellets connect.
Well, it
The
could do
TF2
0
shotgun
damage.
only holds 6 shots and only fires 10 pellets, but those 10 pellets have a base damage of 6. But there's also one more key difference. There is no ramp up or fall off in TFC.
No.
Where damage in TF2 is generally increased or decreased
In
depending on your distance
distance.
from the target.
Yep.
In TFC, it's always the same.
So
For
how do you
example,
calculate
the
that?
TFC sniper's automatic rifle will always deal 8 damage no matter what distance it hits me from.
And
Nail
TF2
gun will always deal 9 per hit.
The nail
Engineer's
gun.
railgun will always deal 23, etc. The bullet spread of some weapons, like shotguns, obviously makes them better for close range, but just in terms of damage, range generally
miss.
won't have the same effect as it does in TF2.
No,
at
where it
close
actually
range,
has
while
damage.
a double-barreled shotgun deals 54, damage ramp-up allows the TF2 shotgun to deal up to 90. The TF2 shotgun also fires just a tiny bit faster, allowing him to kill the 100 health spy just a fraction of a second quicker. But
Okay.
from the middle of the 2-fort bridge, the TFC
Okay,
shotgun
why are
has
you
the
using a
obvious
shotgun at
advantage,
range?
killing in just 4 shots compared to the TF2 shotgun's 9.
But it's a shotgun.
And while the double-barreled shotgun does have more shots and is clearly better from longer distances, I think the
It's a
TF2
shotgun.
shotgun's higher max damage at close range makes it the winner. It's a shotgun that's better at the range
Out of
that
potential-wise,
shotguns are
yeah.
normally going to be used in. So yeah,
Confetti
I think
cannons.
The TF2 one wins. And finally, we have the
There are
heaviest
big
of
guns.
Heavy's weapons.
The
moment
big
you've
guns.
probably all been waiting for. The TFC assault cannon versus the TF2
assault-
minigun. Sasha versus
Sasha.
Ol Assaulty. The two
Ol
weapons are
Assaulty? Is that
functionally
actually
very
what it's
similar,
called?
But share quite a few important differences. Both guns, of course, require a spin-up time before they can begin firing.
And they probably
the
also
assault
make you
cannon
just
takes
walk
about
slower.
0.62 seconds, and the minigun requires about 0.85 seconds.
Okay.
For comparison,
That is a
means
difference.
the
Wow,
assault
that...
cannon actually
Look at that
spins even a little
spread.
bit faster than the Tomislav. And both weapons also normally carry 200 reserve ammo. But
Okay,
the
wait,
assault
there's
cannon
grenades?
fires
There's grenades
ever
in
so
Team
slightly
Fortress
faster.
Classic?
It'll finish firing all 200 ammo in 20 seconds compared to the minigun's 21 seconds. But there is a negative for the assault cannon here. It shares the same ammo as Heavy's other weapons. The
Oh,
single-barrel
that's
shotgun,
awful.
The double-barreled shotgun, and the assault cannon
Yeah.
all use the same
How?
shells as ammo and all draw
How?
from the same ammo pool. This
How?
means you could lower your cannon ammo without even using it. And that's a problem that the minigun just doesn't have. In more negative news for the assault
That's
cannon, it slows the
wild.
classic Heavy down more than the minigun does, reducing his speed to about 1/3 of normal, while the minigun reduces Heavy speed to 37%, just barely under half of his normal 77% move speed. However, in the
okay.
original game, you could actually jump while spun up with the assault cannon, where in TF2
You could
can't
jump?
jump at all while spun up. So there's a pro there. But
Yeah.
possibly the biggest downside of all, the assault cannon cannot be pre-spun up. The secondary
Ooh.
fire button does nothing
Yeah,
for the TFC Heavy.
TF2 Heavy
So
takes this
while
by
it
a
does take
landslide.
less time to fire when you need it than the minigun does, it can't be readied ahead of time. Well, at least not easily. I have heard that Heavies would sometimes just tap the firing button over and over to briefly put the assault cannon in a state of spinning so that it would be ready when they need it, which just sounds incredibly tedious.
Yeah.
But probably the most important aspect here is how much damage can they deal. The assault cannon can deal up to 32 damage per hit and fires 10 times a second, meaning its max damage output is
320,
320
okay.
per second. A very respectable number.
But
The minigun, on the other hand, can deal a max of
No
50
way
damage per
better.
hit and also fires basically 10 times a second, making its max DPS
even if it's a little bit slower, it's still
540,
way faster.
which completely blows the assault cannon out of the water. The minigun is capable of dealing.
Wonder if they
over
can make a
100
mod where
damage
they
in
actually,
about
like, put them in
0.2
a game
seconds,
together.
while the assault cannon takes
Like the same
0.4
characteristics.
seconds. But that's only if the minigun has been pre-spun up for more than 1 second. For whatever reason, since the Love and War update, the minigun has had an additional ramp up for
2014.
its first second, where it starts out dealing half damage and increases to full damage over that second.
That doesn't
So
make
if the
any sense.
minigun has just spun up, it actually takes about 0.43 seconds to kill that spy. Similarly, when fired from the middle of the bridge, the assault cannon will kill slightly faster than the minigun if the minigun wasn't pre-spun up, and slightly slower if it was. So pre-spinning
okay.
can make a pretty big difference for the minigun's damage output for its first second of firing. However, at very long range, the assault cannon is the clear winner. The lack of damage fall-off really helps.
Yeah,
at
there's
this
no damage
distance,
fall-off.
but it's still not exactly something to write home about. Neither of these weapons were designed for
From that
or are
range,
very
yeah.
effective at long-range attacking. And while there are a few situations where the assault cannon does have the advantage, overall, I think the minigun is the much better weapon. Being
Pain.
able to spin up without firing is incredibly useful. The minigun is
You can
also
jump,
capable
though.
of having a higher damage output at the ranges that matter, and it also doesn't even slow you down as much. So again, the winner is
TF2 Heavy.
TF2.
I agree.
But the TFC Heavy does have another trick up its
Grenades. Yeah.
sleeve. Grenades.
Okay.
In
That,
Team
apparently
Fortress
that's a
Classic,
thing.
all classes have some form of throwable grenade.
But Heavy has sandwich.
Heavy has 4 standard hand grenades and 2 MIRV grenades. The hand grenades have a 4-second fuse and can deal between 50 and 145 damage. The MIRV
Okay.
grenade will explode and then split into smaller bombs.
What?
These are very powerful tools for spamming choke points and gives the TFC Heavy a way of dealing indirect damage against enemies not in his
I
sight,
can see why they
which is
didn't put
something
that in
TF2
Team
Heavy
Fortress
just
2.
doesn't have. Throwable grenades were cut from TF2 during development for good reasons.
Yeah,
but still,
very
this
good
is a very
reasons.
good option that the TF2
Could you
Heavy
imagine-
has no similar alternative for.
Could you imagine if that
And
got put in
obviously, it's gonna be
TF2?
that the TFC Heavy wins this round.
But yeah.
But who wins overall? All
TF2
those previous
Heavy.
rounds, they were pointless. What happens when it comes down to the 1v1? Well, they're about
TF2.
tied mobility-wise, but the
Yeah.
original Heavy is made quite a bit bulkier because of his heavy armor and high number of armor points. Though the TF2 Heavy pretty
Not
handily outmatches him in
huge.
all of their available weapons. That is, except for grenades, which of course he doesn't have. Now, in the
he has
absolute
sandwich.
most ideal scenario, the TFC Heavy would be able to kill a full health TF2 Heavy with the assault cannon in exactly 1 second if he was already spun up and able to connect every pellet. The TF2 Heavy would be able to kill a full health, full armor TFC Heavy in 0.8 seconds with a minigun at point blank range.
But depends
if
on the
every pellet
range.
connected
Point blank,
and the
yep.
minigun had already been spun up for 1 second beforehand.
Yep.
So in the absolute most ideal scenario for each class, the
T-
TF2 Heavy comes out on top by a fraction of a second.
But
But is it really
TFC
fair to make
Heavy
that
was
decision on
back.
the absolute best case scenario for each class? because if we did, nobody would ever beat the TF2 Heavy. I'm fairly positive that no stock weapon in either game has a higher potential DPS than the minigun. But that's also not how Team Fortress, or any game really, is played. It's never going to be just an empty vacuum.
Yeah, it's going to be range.
While the TF2 Heavy does have better weapons overall, the TFC Heavy would be able to get chip damage, or even severely damage him with grenades, while staying out of the minigun's line of fire, in a similar way that Demo-Man soldiers do with their explosives in TF2.
Do damage with grenades out of fire.
The TFC Heavy is also able to tank considerably more damage due to his armor. And if both heavies begin spinning up at the same time, the assault cannon's faster spin-up would allow him to kill the TF2 Heavy first, especially if you also factor in the minigun's additional ramp-up.
This is too
The only scenario, aside from the ideal, in which I think the TF2 Heavy definitively wins, is in a defensive one where he's pre-spun up and either catches the TFC Heavy off guard or comes around a corner. The ability to spin up without firing is like a huge benefit, but ultimately in an open area,
person's not paying attention.
Who starts firing first.
Are people actually playing this game?
I think the TF2 Heavy has better weapons and is a better balanced character overall. In a 1v1 between just these two classes,
if they're literally shooting each other,
I think the TFC Heavy wins. With the assault cannon spinning up faster, his massive amount of armor, and grenades
I think it's the range.
chip damage, I think the Team Fortress Classic Heavy wins out in the end.
Which would I rather use? The TF2 Heavy.
Heavy weapons guy defeats his iconic sequel counterpart.
I mean, I understand. It's no damage fall off. That's the big thing there. Like, that's a huge thing.
Was this the outcome you were expecting? Will the other TF2 classes meet the same fate? We can
I don't
find
know.
out in the next round.
I think the next one's supposed to be Scout.
Let me know which class you want to see go up against their original version, and we'll see what happens. This was a lot of fun to make, and is surprisingly something I don't think I've seen anyone else do before. Like I said, not
that's
a
a
lot
great
of people
idea.
talk about TFC.
Original video is linked down below in the
But a lot of
description. You
people
can check it out.
do talk about this video's sponsor, Skillshare.
Skillshare.
Sometimes I think, what if there was some kind of community? One that was online, and also made for learning. Well, you're in luck.
That's fair. I went to college for 5
because
days
there
and
is.
screwed it and left and got my money back.
online
So,
learning community.
and
You
then I
wanna
taught
learn
myself how to do
about
everything
how
with
to invest in
YouTube.
stocks? Well, there's a class for that, and it breaks it all down. Stocks aren't your speed? What about drawing or graphic design?
Just buy mutual funds.
Skillshare's got tons of classes for all sorts of things. Maybe you're thinking, there's no way there's enough classes for me
Marquise
there.
Brownlee.
Well, there are new ones all the time. And you yourself can see these classes for free for a whole month with a link in the description. So
not a bad deal at all. How many subscribers? I mean,
and
this
we
video
can't
does
forget
have
about
over
everyone else who helps
300,000.
out, like, I don't know, maybe Varric,
Are those-
maybe Captain Forex, Eagles,
Are those-
Dex, Zero Attention, presumably Vinegar, Caponicus,
Are they patrons?
Kelso the Pirate, Pillsman's Fox,
Kelso the Pirate.
96, Scout with a Name, Glump, Salt God, Tyler the Sheba, who also helped me out with some of the TFC info on this video, Professor Dunce, and Lavi, as well as all the other patrons.
I also have a Patreon.
Thanks for watching, and peace out, dogs.
Oh, okay. Well, that was interesting. Yeah, the next one's going to be Scout, if y'all want me to do the next one. You have to get a TF2 news article published? What? Oh, yeah, that must be his recent upload with the Save TF2. Well, hopefully change happens in TF2, and hopefully Valve actually does something about how the state of the game and everything. I saw that Moist Critical or Penguin Zero or Charlie or whatever you want to call him actually did a video called Save TF2. And that's crazy. Like, he has so many subscribers that definitely helped the whole situation. Valve actually tweeted about it, which I believe became, like, the most liked tweet Valve has ever done besides the Steam Deck announcement, which is kind of nuts. So hopefully it brings change, and thank you to the person that suggested I watch this, and all the people that liked it to let me know that you were also interested in me watching this. But this is really enjoyable. Let me know if you want to see Scout next. If not, let me know what else you want to see. But I look forward to the next part and to learn more about Team Fortress Classic, and I really enjoyed this video, and I hope you did too. But until the next video, take care, and cue the music.
We were